I am so glad that you're here because I'm queer, and as always, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for this video despite all of the terrible news we have been hearing in the art community. But you know what? Life's a bitch and so am I. The beautiful Linda of Creepy Gals, who I met this year in DragCon LA, invited me to create a piece for her show. Unfortunately, I do not live in LA, so I wasn't able to go to the event, but I still decided to create a piece for it since I was definitely inspired by her message. She erected a church called Haus of Devine, kind of like us over here, House of Hex, and it is a safe space for anyone who wanted to heal themselves and also experience the curated fantasy of hers. She wanted people to marry and commit to themselves, since loving yourself is the most important part of true happiness. To quote our lovely Linda, we commit to ourselves by learning what's right for us and what's not, balancing our light and shadow, femininity and masculinity, angels and devils. We commit to ourselves by always being kind and compassionate to the hurt and traumatized parts of ourselves. I really resonate with that message since it's pretty difficult for me sometimes to love myself, and it's always very easy to be very self-destructive and be my own saboteur, when I should really be focusing on the good parts and embracing that. Her style is very kitschy. She loves to incorporate devils and angels, cherries, leopard prints, valentines, and of course, actually a lot of filth. I decided to create a piece inspired by the birth of Venus by Sandro Botticelli specifically. There's more versions of it, of course, like William Bouguereau's interpretation, but they all share common concepts like the angels, the shell, and of course the uncensored Renaissance excellence. I wanted to incorporate all of the elements in Linda's art and marry that with my personal style, which usually consists of aloof, elegant women, hints of fetish fashion, highly stylized forms, and of course, the red bottom heels. Now with all that being said, let's go ahead and make the batch. Our main victim and sacrifice for this video is going to be Barbara Millicent Roberts, and it is in the Model Muse figure collection. I actually reserved her for another character idea before, and that's why her hips are already super glued, but things changed, you know? So let's go ahead and work on her. I'm actually going to go ahead and work on the body modifications first, and with that I am using this very highly toxic epoxy sculpt clay used for industrial repairs. We will be mixing both parts together to create an even clay, and I will use that to give her a third breast and also to give her a big booty. She's obviously very otherworldly because them tattoos is defying gravity. I really wanted her hips and also her butt to be very, very big. Obviously, I didn't exaggerate it as much as I could have, but this gives the illusion that her waist is a lot smaller than it actually is. For some reason, the Renaissance paintings was just really speaking to me, and I decided to give her a hint of vagine. So we have Miss Barbara over here rocking that 613 and also platinum blonde mess, and it's gotta go. I actually wanted to try and dye the overall figure into a pink shade, so let's go ahead and remove her factory paint with acetone or nail polish remover to prep it and prime it, and then let's head over to the stove. I saw this technique done by Tanilla Customs, and I am hoping that I get the same results because the results that they had was amazing! So let's go ahead and pour it in. I mixed it, like I said. I did mostly pink and then a hint of red here and there, and wait for everything to be caliente. So bad news, nothing happened. I have been literally doing this for about 3 hours, literally. Like, I feel like I'm literally cooking the head already, and this was the result. It's pretty mediocre. It did change the hair, but not drastically. Maybe the solution and the ratio water was not correct, but unfortunately it didn't work. So I plan on just making a wig for this girl. So let's go ahead and cut her hair off. So another bad news, I feel like I completely destroyed this head already. As you can see, it's very, very squishy and not the good kind. So it's not working out. So I'm just gonna use another head that I have laying around that I found. And so yeah, this is Miss Belle over here. I feel like the results might be a little better and it might look a little more animated. So that's always a good thing for me. So yeah, let's try that. I'm gonna go with the wig plan instead of rerooting because it would be a lot better. I have more color ranges also with yarn, and I'm just gonna go ahead and recolor the skin with pastels. So with that, let's go ahead and take off all of our hair to prime it, and so we have a clean canvas to work with. And now I have attached Miss Belle's head to the model Muse Barbie, and I actually am in love with how it looks. I love the contrast of it. It kind of evens out, and it makes it really, really more stylized, which is, like I said, something I really love. Now I'm gonna go ahead and remove her factory paint using acetone. Now to completely transform and recolor her skin, I am using this pan pastel. Very, very expensive. I got it from Dick Blick's. And this one is a really, really cool pastel because it is pearlescent red. It comes off as kind of pink, but in some shifts there is red. So I really thought that was kind of cool. And as always, you have to prime the body and the face of the figure first with Mr. Super Clear so that the pastels will actually stick on it. Unlike the him figure that I created, this took a long time to actually become opaque, and it was crazy. I think this was overall definitely like 20 layers. As you can see, this is like its 5th layer and it's still not getting anywhere. So yeah, trying to color match and trying to recolor a doll, it's pretty extensive. I definitely used an entire can of Mr. Super Clear just for this part. Yeah. I definitely forgot to give her the horns before recoloring, so here we are, trying to do it, trying to backtrack everything. And obviously we're just using Mr. Super Clear. And while that cures, I'm gonna go ahead and also work on the sketching of the face. The placement of the third eye there isn't just for aesthetic reasons. I wanted to make this art piece kind of like a goddess. I want her to look like those statues, like icons. And right now I'm actually taking history in Asian art, and we're talking about Buddhism and Chinese paintings and all that. And third eye is always mentioned, and it just means that you are enlightened. You can see beyond, beyond the naked eye in terms of spiritually and mentally, and I thought that was really, really cool. I gave her blue eyeshadow to make her eyes pop out a lot more. As you can see, I am giving her red eyes and irises, and so the blue shadow really helps it pop. I want you guys to share if you'd like, down below in the comments. Well, If the comment section is even down there, what do you guys do for self-love or, like self-care? Personally, I love to draw. I love doing what I'm doing right now. It's really relaxing for me. It can be stressful, but I feel like just working the creative bone in my body is something that really relaxes me. Obviously, I love listening to music. I love watching comedy shows. And yeah, I feel like that's something that I really love to do. I love to eat, obviously. But I feel like the eating is kind of a pattern because then I regret that I eat. So yeah. Now let's paint her devil horns red. Yes, it's wobbly right now, but I will definitely glue it in place. Do not worry. It was bothering me as well. I don't know if you guys noticed, I love putting beauty marks on my dolls. It references 1940s, 1950s superstars like Marilyn Monroe. They all had beauty marks and stuff, and I really like it. Now it's time for the very stressful part for me, and that is applying the lashes. These lashes are fake lashes from the dollar store, and they're the individual ones. And yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and trim them as well. And now it's time to gloss up her lips, and we are almost done with Venus. I love how she turned out. Her face is so nice. It's very aloof, at the same time it's very relaxed, and she is a perfect goddess figure, and amazing. Let's move on to her body. I actually wanted this piece to have an androgynous take on her, and so the leg hair was already in the concept in mind, and I wanted to give her something phallic to kind of represent an Adam and Eve combination in one body, and I just decided to make her this godly embodiment of a female. I feel like it's very liberating to have it represented on this art piece because in society, in social norms, females are not supposed to have body hair, but it is no one's freaking business if you have body hair. It is a personal preference. I choose to be very smooth, and some people shouldn't choose that because of social norms, Be free, grow it out or cut it out. So for her chest, I actually wanted to be eyes, like actual eyes, and not just areolas. So obviously we're doing the irises, the pupil, and all that. So I thought that was kind of cool. And see, I'm gonna add the veins of the eyes as well around it to really emphasize that it is supposed to be an eyeball. Since we are spraying this over and over again with Mr. Super Clear, I am also working on shadowing her body with pastels. Since the inspiration for this obviously is the birth of Venus, I really wanted to pay homage to the Renaissance paintings before where everyone was completely naked and uncensored, and it was okay because it's art, you know what I mean? And so yeah, that she had to incorporate those ideals. And of course, it won't be fetish-like if it doesn't have a patent leather or latex-looking opera-length gloves. And I'm pretty much done with her overall body. I just have to add the catch lights to her eyes on her chest and also gloss up her gloves. And now I present you this body yachty. She's so amazing looking. I love it so much. Now let's go ahead and work on her cherries. I had this laying around in like a random accessory charm pack, and I was like, oh my god, that's perfect for Linda's aesthetic. She always uses cherries. I just have to recolor it because that green is not the right green. And now let's go ahead and make the House of Devine symbol, and it pretty much is a heart Venus symbol with devil horns. I'm taking this rose I got from Michael's and it is made out of paper, that's why it's very detailed. I'm just wrapping it into a toothpick to act like a wand, and I am repainting it, so very red and very dark green for the leaves. Using my Warbler, I will be drawing the shape of the Venus heart with the devil horns. Then I'm using these micro spikes. Actually, they're used for nail art, and I am just gluing that onto the front side of the Venus heart. Even though this is in time-lapse, as you can see, the struggle was real. Like, it's so hard doing this. I don't know why. And when the super glue dries, we can go ahead and flip it over, and for the back, I am just adding some designs onto it with my hot glue, just so that it's not very plain. Then I'm gonna go ahead and paint everything red. And now I'm just adding that rose. To make the color story a lot stronger, I am painting the spikes hot pink. And now it's time for his shoes. Now I'm using a actual Model Muse shoes for this one, and as you can see, it's already in the perfect shade of pink that matches everything. However, when I did put it together, it did not look right. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint everything red, and yes, including the bottoms. The red would match her horn, her lips, and her gloves a lot more than if I used pink. And now it's time for her shell. Now this one is actually a bikini seashell costume I got from Amazon, and it is the perfect size for a doll. And it's amazing because it's plastic, so it's very light. And it comes in two, so it's just literally perfect. I only got it for like $7, I think, so not too bad. So obviously this is going to be her main stand, so I'm going to go ahead and incorporate an actual doll stand to it. So yeah, so that they're married together. And so now I have this seashell stand for our Venus, and I really love it. I glued it also to make it more secured. So I'm actually giving her a heart-shaped pillow made out of epoxy sculpt. And the reasoning for this, obviously it's really cute, but at the same time, she wasn't really standing well onto the shell by itself, so I needed to make up something for her to stand on that will stabilize her. And this one is a great option because, duh, it's really cute. I just wrapped it in plastic before it actually cures, and I took a mold out of her feet with her heels on, so that when the clay actually cures and it's dry and all that, it is a perfect mold of her heel, and it is very stable. Now let's go ahead and add some color. I'm painting the shell pink and then the pillow is going to be red. Then I'm going to add some, well, I tried to make it look like cheetah print. I'm not sure if it looks like cheetah, maybe, but it's a cheetah print. Then for the shell, I'm giving it a top coat of this pearlescent white paint, and I think it's obviously perfect. It gives it that pearlescent shine. And then I'm actually adding some pearls. This one wasn't in the concept at first, so I just decided to have fun with it, and I thought it looked really, really cool, and it kind of tied it in together. And that's it for our shell-based stand. And now for those demon eye cherubs that I had drawn. I actually got this from a Halloween store, and this is an eyeball. They resemble like ping pong balls, so that's like the material. And then I also got these plastic bats, which I thought was perfect for it, since I don't have to make my own bat wings. And yeah, I'm just gonna obviously cut these up. So I'm giving the eyeballs some wire behind them because I want them to be attached to the actual stand. And this is the most incognito way of kind of hiding it. And now that we have the wings fully attached and ready to go, I sprayed the entire thing with Mr. Super Clear. We've just been using Mr. Super Clear in this video everywhere. And I'm painting the eyeballs with white and the wings with red. So the process is actually the same exact process as if I was repainting a face. So you do your layers, you spray it with Mr. Super Clear in between layers. It's pretty cool. It was actually really, really fun. For some reason, painting an eyeball. I was able to add a lot of details to it, with the iris, all of that, different lines, different textures. I added the veins onto the actual eyeball, like in the bottom and around it. I decided to shade it also with pink because in the concept art, it was actually supposed to be a pink eye, but it was just very, very cool, and the layers really, really helped making it seem realistic because of all the different dimensions and colors. And now I have it completed. As you can see, still matted. I just sprayed it with Mr. Super Clear, but I have the two of them completed and ready to go, and they're ready to be glazed up. You guys are gonna die for this because glazing these are so freaking satisfying because it looks real. It literally looks like an eyeball, and I am amazed by it. And for her wig, I am using this brushed out pink acrylic yarn. And as you can see, they're ready, they're already weft up, and we are ready to apply it onto our figure. So in the concept art, I actually gave her this Veronica-inspired waves, and I was really, really into it. But then I decided to go against it and actually just change it into my classic page boy that I love to do on my wigs personally. I feel like that gives it more of the fetish inspiration, and I just like it a lot more. And then I'm using this giant hoop earring for her halo. And then for the fabric that the eyeballs are holding, I got this from... Actually, I don't remember where I got this, but it's so cool. It has its natural glitter in there. It's kind of metallic, and it's perfect for it.